What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here on our fantasy football profile. Today I'm talking San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have a ton of these fantasy profiles already on the channel, a ton more headed your way, over 100 this year. Mock drafts, redraft content, league winners, values, busts, sleepers, all that good stuff. Dynasty content as well. Deebo Samuel was a buy low last year in my Dynasty column, so make sure you hit that sub button. If you want to leave a like or a comment down below, really helps out that algorithm. I really appreciate it, so thank you. Let's talk for Deebo. So in 2021, Deebo finished as a wide receiver 2, averaging 18.8 points per game and half-point PPR. He had 121 targets last year for 77 receptions, 1,405 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. That's 18.2 yards per reception. Led the league in that stat. He also had 59 carries for 365 yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. He was insanely efficient in 2021. He had the most points above expectation among wide receivers. Another thing to point out that's very telling about his year and how efficient he was. He was second in the NFL in all of yards after catch. And like I said, only 121 targets last season. The only receiver who had more yards after catch than him was Cooper Kupp, who obviously had significantly more targets, significantly more receptions. So pretty amazing how efficient Deebo was last year. Something I want to point out about his fantasy finish this season, I do not think the rushing touchdowns will bounce back. 8 touchdowns on 59 carries is absolutely insane. He is still a talented player. He's very good with the ball in his hands. I don't think any of those things change. I just think we need to change our expectations for him coming off such a monster season. And a transition at quarterback, they're transitioning to Trey Lance, who doesn't have a ton of experience. I do think Kyle Shanahan will be able to dial stuff up for Deebo where they're high percentage throws, things like that. But I still think there will be some loss in efficiency going from Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy who knows the system very well and has a lot of career starts, to a guy who doesn't know the system nearly as well and has significantly less starts in the NFL, only 2 starts, I believe, in his entire career in the NFL so far, and very few starts in college as well. So I think there might be some transition. And I think that makes me very hesitant to give him the same efficiency numbers as he had last year. I don't think even if he had Garoppolo, he'd be as efficient as he was last year. But so his 2022 stat predictions, I have him projected for 70-plus receptions, 1,200-plus yards, and 9-plus touchdowns. I still think he'll get some rushing work, add a couple hundred yards on the ground. Maybe it's 150, though. Something I wanted to point out, CeeDee Lamb had 120 targets last year, averaged 14 yards per reception. He's a great yards after catch receiver as well. Obviously not in the same light as Deebo. Deebo's a special player, but that 18.2 yards per reception that he averaged, I just think has to come down somewhat, especially with the quarterback change. That's why I'm fading Deebo a little bit this year. I still think he's an excellent player in a good situation, but he needs to get that contract situation figured out before the season starts. I think that will give him a big plus for fantasy. And if he gets that figured out, I think the rushing work could come back a little bit more. But if he's playing this season with no new contract, I don't expect him to get the ball a ton in the rushing game especially. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.